They're in the man cave. They're ready to go. Let's get into it. James Morrow is here with the wonderful Joe Hildebrand. The last time I saw James, we were in a cigar bar in Washington.
That's right. We certainly were.
And the buzz is still the same, baby.
If only we could smoke it here. Yeah.
Imagine. Don't worry, boss, we won't.
I love the American solution to banning smoking in bars. They said, okay, no worries at all. We're just going to have smoking bars where you can drink.
Correct.
And it's like everybody's happy now.
Yeah.
Correct. All right. But of course, don't do it terrible at the beginning or the end of your life. Now, social media ban. We know this thing's going to most likely be passed end of the week. Why? Because Parliament ain't coming back and the Prime Minister wants a win. But we are seeing some wobble. We've seen Alex Antic, Matt Canavan both coming out and saying, no, we're not going to do this. Can I just suggest, when we are doing things as consequential as this, that every now and then, and I have, if anyone has followed me along the journey, I remember saying this when I was doing like late night, Sunday night on Nova 20-something years ago, right? I look exactly the same. When you make big decisions about, say, national security legislation that's about surveillance of the public, or why not have a trial period and a sunset clause where you turn around, you do this for a couple of years, and then the system has to prove that it works in order to keep it, to turn the idea into something permanent, right? Yet there's sort of the all or nothing approach, generally speaking, right? Because I understand why this is necessary. I've read every single story, and particularly, the horrific stuff that's been around there with kids. So I'm all in. I hate social media. I think it is literally, I've said before, it's like a casino, right? Like it's all about endorphins and no natural light and all the rest of it, and it's really bad for kids.
We know how much you hate casinos, Paul.
Correct. Yeah, that's
It's like a casino, but it also has some terrible qualities.
Damn you for making an excellent point, which means that metaphor is done. But my point is that isn't there a softly, rather than a one-day inquiry and a law that's in 4 days?
As the world's biggest pragmatist, I would normally say yes, but I think Anthony Albanese is coming to the point where he has to show that he stands for something, to show that he is a strong leader. It's only a few months out before the next election, if it goes the full
not
time.
even.
And maybe not even. And so he's got to say, no, this is what I stand for. He's done it with the housing package. He stared down the Greens and he kicked those humorless little socialists in the nuts.
That's
and that was wonderful to see.
25,000 people.
But again,
that affects.
But again, that's beside the point. The point is he's got to show what he stands for and what Labor stands for. And look, with all the privacy concerns or I don't want social media companies, having my details and everything. I was doing my Christmas shopping this week. There are that many websites that have all your data, all your credit card details, all your information, and you can't even remember them. You can't even remember the passwords for them. And these are websites that have a vested interest in mining absolutely everything there is to know about you, so they can target you with ads, so they can tell you stuff. And look, I don't like it. In a perfect world, we'd all be going to the market every day and buying, mangoes by the box. But this is the world that we live in now, and I don't think having to sign up and say, right, this is who I am, is such a bad thing. And it wasn't that long ago when I was doing a campaign for the Daily Telegraph called Stop the Trolls, where we were actually saying, say whatever you want on Twitter, have free speech, but be accountable for it.
So it's this thing, James, where again, we understand what the purpose of it is, and I just hope that after it becomes law, that there is the checks and balances, just to double check that if there's a need for a tweak here or a need to add something there, that can be done.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think that the big issue around social media is really more around the sort of the rewiring of the brains, the attention span, the stuff that Jonathan Haidt has done. I think that's the fundamentally the bigger sort of ground, in the same way you say, well, we don't let people drink before they're 18 and that sort of thing. But that said, if you're going to go this sort of route here, I did think that there were some real problems exposed in the bill by people like Matt Canavan when they said, well, you can't go on X, but what about porn? And they're like, oh, well, that's not really. And, frankly, I think that, pornography in terms of if we're in this sort of situation where we're saying kids need to learn about consent, respect, relationships, misogyny, all of this sort of stuff, having this free sewer of pornography, which you could geo-block very easily, having that pumped into the system of everybody, and kids can find this stuff easily, you know, and see
those.
those.
Magazine on a building site.
It's like that you know, like surely you'd want to do something about that too.
Well, Labor tried the last time they were in government, and the exact same arguments were used against it. Stephen Conroy, as communication minister, tried to censor the internet, which was what it was called. Everyone said, no, you can't do that, because first they'll come for hardcore pornography, then they'll come for this. So again, inevitably, there has to be a test of reasonableness. And again, with the social media stuff, it is not the algorithm and the screen time, that is a problem, but that is not the primary problem. The primary problem is the interactivity, which allows kids to be bullied in silence, in darkness.
Correct.
And
which in part is why my suggestion is that one thing, apart from laws and all the rest of it, which is if you are at that moment in time where you're going to buy or not going to buy, for goodness sake, the dumb phone first, get all the parents in the year to agree, and then as the years roll on, things will change.